and I did a pro and con, like a couple quick ones for each.
Of course you did.
And
fucking engineer on the chat with
exactly.
His pro con. He graphed out his feelings.
Welcome to the Spin Dash Retro Gaming Podcast. Prepare yourself for the joy of classic gaming. Fired straight into your delicate little ear holes. Fire away.
Well, Nick,
it's Dirty Dave's, right?
I haven't been in Dirty Daves with you.
Yes, you have.
I have?
I am sure you have.
Did Kate and Amy take us?
Was it you or was it Andy? It could have been Andy.
Yeah. I went in it. I don't remember who was. I was kind of loaded, so.
Oh, no, I got kicked out.
I've been in Dirty Daves with Party D.
There's something right there.
He held his own. He was pretty good about it. And
just sweating.
He got out of the store. He's just like, "What the fuck was that?" He just like went into meltdown mode. But like Justin randomly showed up. Like he knew where to find us in the store. Were you there then, John?
I don't think so. I don't remember that part. So do I have to hit record or anything, or am I okay?
No, we're recording right now.
We're recording right now.
We're doing better than last time, which we saved it. You know, Jeanette got on and saved us.
Oh, Jeanette, our homegirl. Well, let's jump right on in. Welcome one and all to another episode of Spin Dash Retro. I'm excited for this. We're gonna go on to a magic carpet ride, guys. You ready?
All right.
In a whole new world.
A whole new world. Unsubscribe.
Yeah, that's it. You just killed it.
Oh, Don, you killed us. You didn't join in. By the way, heads up, when we have our OF page, John will be dressing up as Princess Jasmine. Oh.
All right, man.
No.
All right.
Welcome to another episode again. What we're covering today, or this episode, is Aladdin v. Aladdin. Both Aladdin games that came out shortly after the movie. One for the Genesis and one for the Super Nintendo. But we're going to get right onto that later. Guys, how have you been? John and Matt. I didn't do anything special for you guys. I'm sorry.
Fail.
You're just a lazy fucker.
A lazy cunt. What can I say? How you guys doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. This is, if we had tried to record last week, it would have been a complete nightmare. And I you know, so I had this thought and I've been saving it in my head and I wanted to ask you guys. Okay. So like Nikki's dog was like driving me crazy last week. And at one point I was ready to kill the dog. And then I thought to myself, what if the dog tried to kill me? So here's the question I want to ask you two before we get into stuff. Because I've been thinking about this a lot. All right. A lot. How, if a swarm of Pomeranians were coming at you, how many Pomeranians would it take to kill you? Like it's you and just a horde of Pomeranians. How many would it take before they bring you down?
Got to be a couple hundred, right?
I'm in the hundreds too. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a lot weaker. I think I could take down 20. If 20 came at me all at once, I feel like that would be my breaking point. Like 20 Pomeranians. Because they're going to knock you down.
Away, or are you like cornered?
You're cornered. You're in the middle. Like they're coming at you all sides. It's like raptors, like Pomeranian raptors coming at you.
All right, I'll lower my number. I'll lower my number to like maybe like 50 to 100. Right
somewhere
there.
In that range. Yeah.
I feel like if you grabbed one of them, you could use it as a weapon against the other ones.
I mean, I think I'd be punting like a football, just like straight up soccer ball kicking that through field goals. It's like
they climb on each other and swarm you. That's the problem.
That's the problem. It's kind of like ants. Like enough ants will bring a person down.
They will.
I mean, I have a distaste for Pomeranians just because of the Blade Trinity movie. Do you remember that fucking dog? It's like the
Why is
inverted.
that the reason? Why is that the reason?
It's like the jaw like opens up. You see the dog freaking open. Like you have this Rottweiler or whatever. Then you see this little freaking Pomeranian like come up to him, and its jaw opens up at yap, and then like its jaw like falls out and has this freaking tentacle thing that comes right out.
Oh,
I could fight half of one of those.
yeah. That shit terrifies me because it's like the Thing, and I saw that when I was way too young.
Jump. We should add that to our list. That's on PS2 and Xbox.
Oh, yeah.
There's a Thing game.
Oh god.
Yeah.
All right. I just got notified that my battery's about to die, and I don't have my charger on me right now.
What's
Of course.
your computer?
It's upstairs. I gotta run and go get it. So
Go get
fill
it.
the
Go
void.
get it.
Fill the void.
Oh,
Go
man.
get it. Well, I mean,
Classic.
we could always edit this out. He's gonna crash. This whole thing's gonna crash.
Oh my god. It always launches and then 2 minutes, boop, done.
I'd love to know like our statistics on how many episodes are failing or on the verge of failing or have failed, like just a problem.
Have failed. It's like 4 of them because we have the lost ones.
2 Sonics, 2 Pokemon Crystals, Space Station Silicon Valley.
Yep.
We almost lost Super Ghouls and
Olympus.
Ghosts.
Olympus, right?
I think that one actually was okay.
Okay.
Pod Racer was epic. That was I think I was worried Paul's like, man, Matt is really being annoying about this. But they said like your browser could clear its cache and then in up 24 hours. So we were going on like hour, I don't know, 15 to 20, somewhere in that range. I'm like, oh, Paul, type in this weird code, recover. Like as soon as Paul sent back his file, I was like, yes.
Yep. He's the tough one to get a hold of.
Hey, it was good. And then Nick, for some reason, Nick could recover his first part before we had the crash, and then the video of the second part. So I had to take the audio from the video and work with that. And then you didn't have your mic on for the first part, so it's like
it didn't sound as good. Yeah. It was the mic built into the headphones. That was dumb.
Oh my god! Everything that we touch just turns to shit. We're like the shit mic.
Great. Yep.
Watch him plug it in, and then it just glitch the fuck out.
Feedback.
No.
No.
Oh, he's gone.
What the fuck? Oh man.
I knew that was gonna happen.
I see
I see
a
something.
status bar. Yeah.
He's
powering. Nick is powering up.
Dumbass leaving my laptop charger upstairs and having to search it down where the kids might have lost it. So fun times. Where do we leave off? I totally forgot now.
I think we're moving on from fighting Pomeranians. I think somewhere in the 20 to 50 Pomeranians is what we could successfully fight.
Yeah. So if you follow us onto our socials, hashtag how many Pomeranians to take you down. Long one. Fair enough.
You know what? And the thing is, Nick, I've fucked up your what are you drinking? I've fucked up your pickups, but I did get a thing about fighting Pomeranians in, so I feel like I've served my purpose.
We're gonna but hey, speaking of pickups, any pickups from anyone? You want to lead off? Anyone?
I've had some.
I have not.
Matt, it's been a while. I think
it's been dry. It's been a dry spell. No. So I let you guys know the other day I got I bought a mod chip for the Xbox that John procured for me a long time ago.
Yes. So
I wanted an Xbox, and then you found a deal on Facebook Marketplace for an Xbox and a GameCube, and I was like, well, I'll take a GameCube too. Dirt cheap, like stupidly cheap deal, amazing deal. GameCube worked, the Xbox didn't, so it was a complete flip of what I was going for. So I got the game, I pimped out the GameCube, and then I'm like, well, I really should get the Xbox up and running, because that's really what I set out to do. You know, the disk drive in it sucks, and for the cost of to find a replacement drive for it, you can just buy a new Xbox. So I was like, I'll try mod chipping it. That'd be pretty cool. So the mod chip is in, and now I have to prepare myself mentally to solder. And my soldering skills are complete shit. So the chance of me ruining this Xbox, I give it a 50-50. But it's worth nothing anyways, really, because I need a disk drive. So we'll see.
Yeah, good luck, man. You got to be better than me because I soldered through a board on my Wii when I tried to fix it.
Through the board? Would you like crank the thing up
the
to
solder
max?
gun was way too big, and I needed to do one of those ribbons, like solder to the and I botched it hard.
Wait a minute, you doing like the real fine soldering, like around the chip?
Yep.
You just like off out of the blue, like, yeah, I'm going right to advanced mode.
Just balls to the wall. So yeah, I learned my lesson, and I just bought like. My disk drive wouldn't work on the Wii anymore. So I was like, I'll buy a new one. And then like I got into it and I just bought a new setup instead of like the one I got before. So it was already done. So, that was easier.
Everything could fail on this Xbox. So the Xbox at last did turn on, just the disk drive didn't work. So I've got a 500 gig hard drive that I stole out of an old computer.
Nice.
That may or may not work. It could be completely fucked. So that could be another failure point. But I bought an adapter to allow it's like SATA to IDE because
I'm excited for this.
I mean, it could be a shit show, really.
Yeah, but I mean, it's worth what you said. You paid $20 for a chip.
I paid about $20 for the chip, and then about $17 for the adapter that I needed. Because I'm going to beef up a hard drive. If the hard drive is fucked, but my soldering skills turn out great, then I'm going to have to pay to get a decent-sized hard drive, and that would suck. The only reason why I did this, I already had a hard drive kicking around, but I don't know.
It's not going to be overly... I don't think it'll be overly expensive either.
No.
You can probably find someone that's just selling their old desktop and just rape it of its hard drive off there. Best case scenario. I mean, don't put too much into it. You probably find someone selling their freaking old computer for like $20 or whatnot.
Well, if it doesn't work, maybe I'll go solid state drive and really just if my soldering works and the hard drive doesn't, that's the best worst scenario I can have.
Right.
Yeah. So stay tuned.
Good pickup.
This could be a laughing stock type thing. So be ready.
Hey, good pickup either way. So I actually had some pickups too.
Let's hear it.
Well, my mail call came in. So I sold a couple episodes back. I sold my Pokemon Black version 2. So got some change off that, then used it to rebuy some more games. But the ones that came in finally was Pac-Man 2, the new adventure for Sega Genesis. I don't know if you guys have any recollection. Did you guys ever play that at all?
I know you love it because you've mentioned it.
Yeah, I actually posted on my Facebook, and one of my good friends growing up was like, "Look, it's gonna be on a list. It'll make a list. It's gonna be one of those things where we might have to do like we did this one, a couple of games just for a compare and contrast because it's pretty nifty." Other one was more of a gift from John, the Pocket Go. It lets me emulate games on the go, which I've been loving. It actually kind of helped out with these games. Like I was too tired to be downstairs and play on my Sega. I'll just go upstairs and just emulate and go through it that way. So it works good. Reminds me of. So I used to have a Game Boy Advance Micro. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, I was going to say it's got a smaller screen than a TI-89, so I was all done with it.
Yeah, it ain't bad. I liked it. I adjusted pretty quickly. Yeah. I don't mind it at all. So enjoying that. Then Matt, my Holy Grail came in. It's weird calling it's kind of hard calling this Holy Grail because it's not that expensive. It's actually pretty cheap on there. But Quackshot came in.
You could die a happy man now.
Oh my god!
Just put a bullet to me, I'm good.
It's just this is the end of your collecting. You've reached your peak.
You got to play Simple Man by Skinner in the background.
Get a lighter. Simple
kind of man. Yeah. So that game came in. I'm excited. Did I show you guys? Let me show. So the case is actually in really good condition for this one.
Well, for a Holy Grail, of course.
Yeah.
The only thing that's kind of bummed about it, it didn't come with a. I thought it was complete. It did not come with a.
Oh man,
that's what they make burn piles for out back.
Yeah, those Sega cases were so much more robust.
Oh, I love. Well, they did do cardboard. Like some games are worth more with a cardboard case.
Yeah, because everyone ripped them and threw them away.
Yeah. I chucked it. And I put mine in a tote, a little tote on my shelf.
The one that was kind of disappointed and that came complete was the Pac-Man 2. If you can see, there's some kind of like weird stuff on there.
Splooge?
Yeah. And came complete and everything, but like there's writing on the freaking cartridge and whatnot.
You can clean that.
No.
No.
Not on a Genesis label.
No, it's tearing. So I might get another cart just to replace it. And even this might just be my play copy because there's like where the staples are, it's rusted and has discoloration on the thing. But I'm glad to have it either way. It was definitely a big memory for me.
It was well loved. That was the way that's how I think of it. Is you have something with some character.
Yeah. So I'm pretty pumped for those. So yeah, good pickups there. And I have nothing in the bank right now. So coming that I know of.
Oh, I thought you were saying you have nothing in the bank, as in you spent your last.
Oh no! Actually, wait. I do have more pickups. Sorry, I completely forgot.
Man,
you just flush with pickups.
Well, I went to Goodwill, and I actually had some pretty good scores. Matt, I actually told you about this. I'm pretty sure. One was the Wii balance board.
That's. I want you to get a copy of. What the hell is it? Wii Fit, Nick.
Oh, it was awful.
And I also got a other Wii remote for $8.
So for the show, Nick, every day you should be doing Wii Fit and then chronicling your pursuits. Like how are you feeling? How old are you?
My first experience with Wii Fit was I got on the board and I hear this. Oh, I'm like, oh, what? It pretty much, and this is when I was a lot lighter. I was like 67 pounds lighter.
Yeah, it was mine when we lived together, and I brought it out. That was so funny. Because I want to do the ski jump thing because that was fun.
Yeah, I like ski jumping.
Yeah, and then Nick, you made your me, and you're like, I'm a tall guy, I'm kind of big, and then it made your me chubbier. Like your me just went blup. Like I remember that. And
when we were roommates, I wasn't like obese there. I was like 230, 240 at most. Yeah, no, I was like 230.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like. Now I wasn't. I definitely put on weight then, but I was like, "What do you mean? Maybe that's what happened, yeah. John. I know why I'm fat now."
The Wii Fit fat shamed you.
It fat shamed me into eating. Do you think I have a lawsuit there?
You could
sue Nintendo for back years of fat shaming from Wii Fit 2 generations ago.
For life.
Oh, Wii Fit fat shamed me.
Right.
You are 67 years old and fatally obese.
Yeah.
That hurt, man. When you do all the exercises for the Wii and it would friggin' age you.
The best was that day that you went to class and I figured out that rather than just standing on the Wii Fit board, if I just pushed on it and used my hands, I could crush your scores and you came back and you were just pissed off.
And you were like, I didn't cheat, I swear.
I'm not a good liar. I'm really not.
Right?
Fucking Wii Fit.
Yeah. So, yeah, I got that in there. So I'm going to try to probably resell both those and get some more money in the bank for other games. That's all I do.
I like it.
Yeah, trying to build my Genesis collection. Then I'm hoping I can then start building on my SNES collection. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah. So let's jump into this. We played Aladdin on 2 systems. On the Sega Genesis or the Sega Mega Drive for the European. And then the SNES, the Super NES. And I had fun in both games. They're great. I really enjoyed it. It felt like I was, 10 years old again, right in front of my TV, just playing, like, just have that memory. So, and the funny thing is, I barely played these games actually when they came out.
So what was your did you rent them? Like, what was your experience with them?
My cousin had them. So I had one cousin that had this NES, a Super NES, and I remember playing it on there. And then I think and my other cousin just had it on the Sega Genesis, and I played like the first level, and like, oh, this looks cool. This looks like I'm in the movie. So that was my only thing, other than like always seeing, like the ad for them.
Yep.
Is when always seeing an ad on TV is like you're in the movie. They like mix the movie in with the game and like Magic Carpet Ride, do this. I vividly remember the commercials for this, and always seeing it into like Nintendo Power or any major game, stuff like that. I mean, it's and I really didn't really think about it until recently. Like, oh, I really like to play it, thanks to the Nintendo Switch releasing the dual copy for both this and Lion King.
Yeah,
so they're making a comeback.
But I think that's only one version, because I think, if I remember correctly, Capcom wouldn't let them use the Super Nintendo versions of, I think it was a Lion King in this. So you're only getting the Virgin one.
Yeah, you're getting the Sega Genesis. Yep.
Yeah, I don't think I ever played this at anyone's house. The only place I remember ever seeing this game was like every time I go to Sears. For some reason, like, a lot of my gaming experience gets tied to Sears because my parents would drag me there. And Aladdin was always like one of the test games that they had. So I never got far in it, but I remember being blown away by that first level. It's like, holy crap, this is amazing. And before, John, you can take over, I'm really happy we're doing this, because this is our second episode. Well, it's our second episode where we're doing 2 games. Star Fox was the only other one that we've done that. But it's our second episode that's pure clickbait, because it has been a battle going back to the dawn of time on which is better. So, I mean, we fully embraced clickbait. We should be extremely proud of ourselves. We're going to have an OnlyFans. Like, this is amazing. We're legit.
We made it.
Oh, can't wait. John, do you have any memories of this? Did you ever play this as a kid?
Yeah, I think we rented it. One friend and I rented it one weekend, and we played it, and it was the Super Nintendo version, and we got a good chunk of the game done, and then had to return it. I think we got hung up on one of the mid levels, but it was pretty vague. And Matt, I do remember seeing it somewhere in Sears, and I'm now wondering if you and I ever bumped into each other and played Killer Instinct. Do you remember that one in the Bangor Mall?
Killer Instinct was always on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
What else did they always have? Sonic 2, I think, was always another one of the sample ones on Sega that they had.
Yeah, Donkey Kong on the SNES was there a lot.
I forget you guys didn't have Segas growing up, so I was always in the Sega universe. So because me and my best friend growing up both had Segas. I had a Gen 1 Sega Genesis that came with Sonic the Hedgehog, and he had a Gen 2 that came with Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And then we had our various collections, which most of them, we pretty much have near the same thing, though he did have a couple games I really liked and wish I had. And this is funny because this was never part of neither of our collections at all.
Which is astounding because it's such a Genesis. Think of like the top selling Genesis games. I think this is like number 3. I think it's sold like 4 million copies or something crazy like that. Like everyone had this. That like, if you had a Genesis, whatever the attachment rate is, you were almost guaranteed to have this game.
Yeah, I mean,
they released it when Aladdin came out on VHS too. Like I remember reading that. It wasn't when the movie came out; it was when it was released to home video. So, like double whammy strategy, I guess.
That must have been common back then because maybe back then I don't know if you could get the game out in time for the movie without it being just nothing like the movie because you didn't know. Yeah. So they were smart. Time it with the VHS release. Did you guys ever have the VHS copies of Aladdin like that? Those sweet
had all 3 of them.
Sweet case. You had all 3 of them.
Yeah. Well, the third one's not really considered.
Neither's a second.
You could. Yeah. Second one was okay.
I mean, I grew up watching Aladdin on TV, like the TV show. I love the TV show.
There's a TV show?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that either.
Yeah, I used to watch Saturday cartoons. Used to watch it all the time.
Oh. Huh.
I mean, I grew up, I don't know. It's weird. I grew up poor, but I grew up privileged. So as typical as a poor person is, blow your money on stuff that you don't really need. So we had we didn't have cable TV, but we had like Dish when it first came out. It was Star. It was like Star Dish or something like that. It's like one of the first like satellite TVs that came out. Okay. So we had it because it was like dirt cheap. I think it was like $15-$20 a month for it, and we never did any sports packages. So we got like the basic, all the channels that typically already came with it. So it was on like, I think what it was a Disney Channel back then. We used to watch it. So I mean,
yeah,
liked it. It was actually really good. So I had very fond memories with Aladdin in general because it was my first. So take it back. It was actually the first movie I saw in theaters too.
No kidding. Cool.
Yeah. So I actually have a lot of sentimental value for this one. At least the movie, definitely. So yeah, I really liked it. And I mean, that's probably why I have a little bit preferent bias onto one version versus the other. And let's actually get into the differences here. Because there were some actual differences I did not even know about. I thought they were just both the same game, just one was Sega and one was an SNES.
I
did not know there's any differences until you brought it up, Matt.
Well, you bought the game. I remember this because you bought the game and you were all gung ho like, oh, we got this new game. Let's play this for the show. And I was like, well, why don't we play both of them? And I think you probably at the time were like, well, what the fuck's wrong with you? Why would I play the same game twice on 2 different systems, you dummy?
That's exactly what I was thinking too.
So I had known that there was a battle like since the dawn of time on which version is better. And I did some research. Like I have some stuff on the development, but I don't understand why they had 2 different developers on this. I wonder if it's something with the whole non-competes with Nintendo, but it might just be the fact that, Disney just dished out the licenses, hoard out the licenses. So Capcom got one and Virgin got the other. It's weird because it happens a lot. A lot of times there'll be a game on Sega and then a game on Super Nintendo, same name, same concept, radically different game, different developers.
Yeah, I mean, I did not know difference. And I guess that brings to mind then is the two Lion Kings are different too?
I think the Lion Kings are different. I think there's a Terminator game that's different. There's like a list. I was dinking around before we started this, trying to find out all the games that have. There's a Taz from Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
That version's different. It's just so strange. I get so like Mortal Kombat, for example. Oh, I'm gonna get the companies fucked up, but it's like on Sega, Probe, I think, did the Sega version, and then like Iguana did the Super Nintendo version. They're all under Acclaim, but you had different teams porting it. But in this, like, there's different companies, like radically different visions.
And with the Sega version was the first that had the blood versus the Super Nintendo didn't have blood for the Mortal Kombat initially. The first one.
I thought you were talking about Aladdin.
No, Aladdin. Let's jump into that difference of Aladdin's. First thing I noticed, because I played Sega 1 first. So Sega 1 graphics. I mean, you're looking pretty much at what you saw in the movie as far as animation and everything. It is pretty spot on.
Yeah, because Disney was brought in by Virgin, the maker, like to use their illustrators and animators, so they had access to the source. That was pretty cool.
Now, did they like trace or wrote like how did they make it look like that? Did they rotoscope? Go over Disney's art with that and like drag it in? Like how it is amazing. I mean, I guess where I'm going is it is absolutely amazing how this game looks.
It looks amazing, sounds amazing too. One thing with Sega is it followed actually the storyline too, and that's what it makes more sense, obviously, because they did bring in Disney onto this. So Virgin really kept to the movie as much as possible, where the SNES version really didn't actually do it. I mean, you kind of jumped a little bit, hop and skipped. So the progression was a little bit faster, or you skipped kind of scenes. Though one thing I did like with the SNES is the cutscenes. So it did kind of fill in those reasons why you're like, well, what happened to the whole being in a dungeon scene in the SNES, which the Sega does, puts you in a dungeon scene. So
part of me wonders if you could somehow glue both games together, you'd almost get a perfect game, because all the complaints I have on the Sega one, the super fixes, and then all the complaints I have with the Super Nintendo version, the Sega one fixes. It's like, if you could just combine those somehow, you'd have just this juggernaut of a licensed title. It'd be like the GoldenEye of the 16-bit era.
I mean, this was a solid Disney game too that came out. Like, I usually find that movie games don't do too well. Typically, that when they come out on the system, they're like the Batman games. Those are complete trash.
Yeah.
Like that. I didn't care for any of them. I just didn't like them.
Older Batman games. The newer ones are pretty popular.
The NES one with Hudson make that game's sick.
Bastard. So we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that there. So the music was more authentic, definitely with SNES. I mean, with the Sega Genesis. The thing that was kind of cool and didn't really need to be there was the sword. Made things a lot easier in fucking Sega Genesis.
So let's talk about the sword, because that seems to be the one, like, if you read online why the game is better, it just turns into a battle of, well, this has a sword, this doesn't. I mean, they interviewed Shinji Mikami, who is the developer of the Super Nintendo one. He's the guy who did Resident Evil, so we're going to hear his name a lot. And he's like, oh, I like the Sega version better because it has a sword.
Hey, you have the creator. The creator is there, so
yeah.
I mean that
Aladdin never had a sword.
He did use a sword a little bit. He used it at the beginning. He had it for a hot minute with the monkey, Abu. Yeah, he had it against the snake, Jafar.
Okay,
I love how he uses it for like maybe 0.2 seconds of the movie, and they're just like, yeah, that gives us, we've got it. We've got like, so like if Aladdin,
any inch you can get,
if there was like a laser, if there was a lightsaber in an Aladdin thing, for like 1 second as like a joke,
yeah,
they would have incorporated that in the game. Friggin' Aladdin would have been a goddamn Jedi just hacking down.
I mean, one thing also with the differences, I mean, the levels they took on each, like I said, there's you actually had a dungeon section in the Genesis version. They both had an escape. They both had a when you're escaping the Cave of Wonders, they both had a chase scene from while you're on Magic Carpet, which I prefer the Sega one over the Super Nintendo one. I think
the Sega one was brutal.
I mean, it was. I felt like the Sega one was easier for me, just because it reminded me kind of the old racing games as well. So
I found the Sega one, the Super Nintendo one, kept forcing you to the front of the screen to dodge that wave, and I didn't like that because I like a lot of the shooters, side-scrolling shooters and whatnot. I want to hover. I want to stick on the left-hand side of the screen, and I found I could generally do that a little bit better on the Sega one and have a little bit more thinking time than I don't know. I found like it was forcing me to the right on the Super Nintendo one. I had trouble with that.
It took me. I was able to do the Sega one in the first try, and the Genesis one took took like 2 or 3 lives because there's that one part where like you had the lava coming after you, then you had to gradually go up.
Yep.
And I always just like clipped. I'm like, fucking A. Or because you're also dodging the fucking boulders coming down.
Yeah.
So I was like, son of a bitch. And
I died way more on the Sega one than I did the Super.
And that could be just like, I grew up with the Sega one or grew up with Sega. So I just knew naturally what to do for there.
It was in your blood.
Yeah. It's in my blood. Abu following you. I kind of wish that was actually happened more in the Genesis, because you don't really see Abu in Genesis at all. You have him in the Sega Super Nintendo. He follows you, or is it vice versa? No, Super Nintendo. He follows.
He's definitely in the Super Nintendo one because you have that weird boss fight where it looks like you're gonna go fight a boss, and then just like a Pooh in a suit. Like you walk by him and he falls, and you're like, "Oh, the level's done." It's like, okay, thanks, Pooh.
Yeah. You have. I think Boo follows you in there, or he kind of is like he's always in background, and you don't really have him at all. You don't really see him really at all, besides like cutscenes in Sega Genesis one. Something else. Super Nintendo. It was a lot easier playing the Super Nintendo one with a lot of levels.
Very easy. Very easy.
You know what made it easy for me is the parachuting.
Matt, how did we miss that?
You guys didn't know about that at all. Which brings to mind, how the fuck did you get past the genie level without parachuting? Because that was a cunt of a level.
I didn't realize, because fuck the manual, that you could hover in the game at all. So I just went through like. So what happened was today I was like, oh man, I beat both these games last week. I want to make sure I remember them. So I watched a speedrunner, and he was parachuting like crazy. It's like, what the fuck is that? I didn't get a parachute. So I text you guys, and Nick go like, yeah, if you just get the item, you've got it. I'm like, what item? So before we got on the call, I was like, oh my God, there is this thing. If I hold the R button, I can parachute. Now, genie level, it wasn't bad, because here's the thing. I found the controls on the Genesis version extremely slippery, and I couldn't really do a whole lot. I thought the Super Nintendo controls were tight. So that level, that genie level, honestly, it felt like a Mega Man level. Like it felt like I was fighting Airman. so like the blocks that were moving around, it's like, that's fucking Airman. So I had no problem. There was only one spot, and that's where like Genie comes out, and he's like, you got to jump on the card and then swing on this.
Yeah.
That's what I'm dying. I fucking died. I had got to a point where I'm like, fuck it. I'm turning on, infinite life just to get past this motherfucker.
But here's the thing. If you die several times in the row, he makes an easier version for you. So like I died a couple times on that, and then he made it super easy. So I just like, boop, 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 boop. I'm like, oh, levels, next section of the level, nailed it.
Nice. I died way more on the Sega Genie level with those balloons where you have to swing.
Yeah,
Because I couldn't hit up I just couldn't get my thumb to click. I don't know.
On the superior controller is great. I loved it.
Ugh.
Loved it.
That hurt. I found the Super with the Y. And you know how like Mario World has the Y where you can go faster, right?
Run, yeah.
It wasn't quite there on Aladdin. Like it wasn't. I felt like it almost had like a weight. Like if you pushed it harder, it would do better. That was just probably in my mind, but like it wasn't as tight as Super Mario World, where if you hold the Y button. So that was harder for me. And with the Sega, it was like, okay, you can only jump this far. Granted, I died a lot more because I couldn't tell what to jump on in the Sega. So that was tough.
You know what it reminded me of? And this is kind of a weird stretch, but like the physics of it. One, I've played a lot of the Disney games on Super Nintendo, and they all seem to use like a similar engine. Like Magical Quest starring Mickey all has that same like jump on the people's head dynamic, or just go and you bounce along. But the physics almost reminded me of like Prince of Persia. Have you guys ever played the old Prince of Persia games?
On Super, yeah.
It kind of gave me that vibe. I mean, I know it's like a similar setting, yeah, whatever. But like, that kind of I don't know. I got that. I got a Prince of Persia feel from it, and I know in this, like, I don't know. The Super Nintendo version was kind of like Aladdin meets parkour on a 2D system.
Well, that's something like when I was reading stuff after I beat it, I was like, even though the Aladdin for Genesis like sticks more to the movie and soundtrack and stuff of that nature, the Capcom SNES version stuck more to like Aladdin going around, jumping around, parkouring around Agrabah, and making his way through, and where he didn't have those, like it stuck more true to the values of it, because like you said, Aladdin didn't have a sword through it. He wasn't chopping up these guys, so it stuck more to like, okay, he always had an apple on him, or he was using like his wits to get around the level. That's what he does in the Super Nintendo version. So both have their ups and downs. Like you said, Matt, if you were to take the best of both and put it, you'd have literally the perfect game.
My qualms, one of the things that got me on the Genesis version, I'm going to pick on the Genesis version a lot, but I can pick on the Super Nintendo equally as much, because I had my qualms with it, but like I liked, it might just because I've been spoon-fed how Japanese platforming games work since like birth, like you pretty much like pop out of your mom and they hand you a controller. I'm like, here's Mario, move right to left, Aladdin for Genesis, like, it's very European. I don't know if you ever played a lot of the games, like the British developers. They're like these huge maps. Like what I can think of is like Turrican, or
think where the system was more popular.
I guess that makes sense. The Mega Drive over there.
Genesis was more popular in the European countries, and it's still even popular in like Brazil now. Still, yeah, they love it. They just moved on from the Master System. They're on to Genesis now. So, just think of the countries that grew up there. So, yeah, they weren't tending probably for more American as much. Like, oh, we'll build it, and just like the Americans will just like it either way.
The Brits will love this game. Yeah, it just the levels they're like wide open spaces. It's like this huge map. And there's like no direction on where to go, or very minimal. It's very like explore, maybe you'll figure out what the ending is, and it'll be abrupt. I don't know. I
mean,
need
it wasn't
that.
that. I don't think it was that vague. I just think. I mean, you still had to go across the map, but I think you just had a little more. You had different platforms in which you could finish the level. You know, especially we'll say the desert level. There's just like little hidden things like the ability where you had to find, you know, the scarab, or if you had to, you know, get the extra wishes or something like that. So that's something I use quite a bit too, is the wishes. Holy crap!
What are the wishes?
So you had in the Genesis Aladdin. Make sure I'm saying this right. Because I actually have I had the manual. Actually, is that the game? Do I have a manual for the Aladdin? I do. I think this one complete. Is this one complete? You'd be sad if it's not. It is complete. Yes. Haha! I can actually bring this up without looking online.
You'll be clickety clicking like John.
Click, 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 John. Clickety click.
I just had to swap a chair out. That's all.
Squeaky chair. Like, also, one thing I say I miss, and this is making a stab at the Nintendo Switch, is the use of manuals. And I'll say even nowadays, I think even to the manuals, even from like 360, the manuals back in the day were like an actual book.
The Final Fantasy 3 manual, or 6, if you're an elitist like John, you probably have the manual, actually. The thing is thick. It is a meaty manual. Like, I mean, they cut down some trees to make that, and now they can't even bother to give you're paying fucking $60, $70 a game now. They can't just give me a couple pages just to make me feel like I earned it. Like, come on now.
Like, it gives you so much in depth on here. Like, what your health. That's one thing I actually didn't care for. I didn't care for the health bar in the Genesis version. Like, it looked cool, but it was a horrible gauge of what your health really was. Because what it was is the lamp with a little smoke that goes up and down. I'm like, okay, so how much am I full? Can I extend this? Like, that's one thing I liked over with the SNES is the heart gauges. Like, okay, that's simple. I know how many hearts I have. Cool. It's really simple there. So yeah, you had gems, you had apples. They called your lives tribes. You had your score.
Tribes?
Tribes.
Oh, tries.
Sorry. Maybe I should be taking some speech lessons with my daughter. Woohoo. Gems if you got all these gems, they would you can use those which I thought was pretty cool. You could use the gems to either buy wishes, which you use at the end. It was a slot game at the end for the Genesis. Yeah.
Yep.
So that, or you can use it to buy extra tries or lives.
Got it.
So I usually just bought lives because I always sucked at the end of the fucking game trying that. I always got fucking Jafar. They do that freaking stupid laugh. Like, you had a genie token, which I didn't really know. I think they were just they're for a bonus machine. Like, I didn't know what half these were. I just collected them. The black lamp in the Genesis was a bomb. Then you had the blue vases, which if you turn around was your save point.
Aladdin had a bomb.
Yeah, a bomb, a black lamp. So every time you remember that black, when you hit the black lamp, everything around it would explode.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I remember that. Come to think of it, Aladdin with a bomb. It's terrible.
Yeah, a boo token. I don't think I ever got. I think I only got a boo token like once to get a boo round. Then you had like the snake charm flute that helped you take ropes up to different sections.
Yeah, those ropes were so weird because they'd just be like, and you never know where you were going to go.
Yeah, so
random.
Wow, this manual is really cool. And one thing I'll say, because I actually have a physical copy of this one. What I really enjoy is at the back of this is a scoring sheet. Tells you what your points are, and I like the fact that you can actually record. Like, you could take it to your friends and brag, like, "Yeah, I fucking beat this with this." You know, just a scoring sheet. I thought that was badass.
Old manuals are great. We've lost. You know, this is like me sitting on my porch yelling at the kids to get off my lawn. But like, we've lost something in the art of manuals.
Yeah, I mean, I could just buy manuals and just be happy with having some manuals if I don't have the games. So
It's fun to read them. I mean,
Yeah.
that was like when you weren't playing the game, you'd read the manual, or you'd be a loser like me, like I mentioned on the Mario World episode. I'd sit there and trace it on the things, like, oh, I got Mario on this paper. That's so yeah, awesome.
there you had to take a shit and you need something to read
Yep.
instead of using your phone.
I remember doing that.
So it was. I think overall, I mean, it's just great little things between each one. Bringing it back to which is better in your mind. I mean, playing both. Which is better, or is there better?
Yes. John, I'll let you go. John. I've got a 30-minute diatribe prepared.
Oh, good Lord.
Bullet points.
John, we can just go get a couple drinks.
Let's crash the podcast before he gets there. So I know, like, this, Matt, might disagree. Nick, you're probably going to disagree more, but by a narrow margin, the Super wins. And I did a pro and con, like a couple quick ones for each.
Of course you did.
And fucking engineer on the chat with
exactly.
And pro con. He graphed out his feelings.
I bet he has on his computer right now like a Venn diagram.
Nope, it's just a Word doc. I just blurb it out. I drink some wine and then I just I ramble on.
Just make sure you delete that and not take it to a meeting. Like, this is why we should build Aladdin.
So I think the Sega, I'll do the runner-up first. I liked the animation and I liked the music more. The cons, I think it was shorter. It only had like 10 levels. And just the chaos that went on in some of those vertical levels and how you interacted with the level itself. Like, what can you jump on? And I remember in the cave in the lava level, like, Jesus Christ, I tried to jump on something and I thought it was solid and it wasn't, or like you just the edges of things. I feel like it clipped. So like in the Super one, you could grab on. So it made it a little easier. But with this one, like the boulders coming after you and then fucking escaping the cavern on the carpet, it was rough. So the Super wins, and the pros for that, I like the game flow better, the level design, and the controls. And it was almost like double the levels. I feel like it was easier, but that doesn't make it better.
No,
but it just, the levels were easier. So I think there were more of them. Like they didn't have to spend as much time on them because they got pretty similar in some aspects. The con for me, obviously the music wasn't as good, and I felt like it was just a little bit slippery on the controls because of, like I kind of said earlier, when you can hold on the Y and go faster, but it wasn't uniform. Like the jumps, sometimes he would make it and sometimes he wouldn't. My dumbass didn't get the sheet that you could coast on, so that's my fault for not making jumps. But that's my take on it all.
all right. I feel I should go in between. I go now because I feel Matt's rant on this will take over. So I like the Sega version better. It felt really well into my hand. Could it helped that the fact that I was playing a controller that I was just so familiar with? More than likely. The fact that I also probably hit on more nostalgia for me because the game was also the first movie title I saw in theaters. Probably so too. And I think it hit really well with, like you said, John, the graphics were just spot on this game. Music was just on. So it was just playing through the Sega version was just pure nostalgia the whole way through. But there was cons in it as well. The con was, like you said, the one thing you didn't really have like you did in the Super Nintendo version was the ability to run like faster. like do a sprint. You didn't have the sprint in the Sega version. You're always going the same speed. So if you did not know where to press your jump button, especially in the Cave of Wonders when you're trying to go through, when you're trying to escape, you pretty much, if you didn't hit perfectly, you're missing it because you had no. Oh, you missed. Oh, I can grab on and pull myself up. So that was kind of bad. You also didn't have the parachute feature in the Sega version as well. You kind of had a pseudo glide with a sword if you fell high, but it didn't help in the cave. So that was kind of the irritating thing on the Sega version. It was definitely harder. It definitely challenged you, definitely pushed you to like, okay, learn where you have to jump. You had to learn the levels. And I said, I played on normal. I didn't even bother playing it on, I think, professional levels, other one you have. So I was like, no. And I'm sure probably the person that Matt watched probably played on the highest difficulty too.
Tool assisted. If I'm watching a speed run, I'm gonna watch the computer do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure like there's something like, couldn't do it. The Super Nintendo version played like a gem. It was flawless through the play. The playing itself was really good. The parachuting made it super easy. Once you got that feature of that item, you literally could just coast through the whole level without even really doing jack. Like you could just, it just pretty much, it was like getting the cape on Mario and just bubbling and just coasting through the whole level.
Yeah, I saw some guy beat the final boss just jumping and using the cape or in the sheet.
Yeah,
which makes sense because you could easily do that. Now that I know that there's a cape and remember what I went through fighting Jafar, you could do that because as soon as the snake tail. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about the last boss.
I mean, that was like the movie. It realistically played like the movie. I mean, for the SNES version, you had a snake, but you had his body that going up and down, up and down, up and down.
That was tough. That was tougher than the friggin' Sega one.
so
they stole it from Mega Man 3. I'm telling you, I see the DNA there.
Well, I mean, it's Capcom, so
yeah.
So, are you surprised, Matt?
No, when a game starts up and it has that it's like, oh, it's warm. I get this cozy feeling. It's like, oh, somebody loves me.
You must have you have the biggest crush on Capcom, I'm sure.
I love Capcom.
Well,
there's people out there saying Crapcom. Go to hell.
Oh, Matt. Yeah, I mean, the boss fights. The boss fights were not really. I didn't really think of much of them.
You just stand there and chuck apples at Jafar in the Sega one.
Oh yeah, what was the deal with apples? How many times? So I watched Aladdin before we went to record, and I know he threw apples like here and there, but if you play both of these games, you would assume that the entire movie is just Aladdin hucking apples at everything he could see.
That's why his pantaloons are so baggy.
He's got
stored apples.
Fucking apple orchard pants.
I didn't use one apple through a majority of it until the end.
What?
I just used a fucking sword. Through Sega one, I just used a sword.
You shit on me. You shit on me about the parachute, and you didn't use an apple?
No, I knew I could. I just never had the use of it. What's the fucking point? I have a sword.
Sucks, dude. You couldn't I remember the sword missing, like friggin' Crusader Senti. The hits didn't register.
Yeah.
I mean, I had no problem with it myself, but that's just me. I mean, I didn't feel it. Yeah, I mean, with the Sega version, it was like it's literally just you chucking apples at him at the end. But I thought it was weird that you don't really get the snake for the Sega version.
He's there. He just spits fire, and then you just keep throwing apples. Yeah. The apples are the key to life here, man. Yeah. That's it.
I mean, that's the only time I ever used it. Like, I literally had over 100 apples, or whatever the max apples at the very end, so I didn't have to fucking use one of them.
And they bail you out too, dude. If you run out, they're just 4 that appear on the screen.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well,
I ran out during that fight.
Did I even play this game?
And then, did you get to the level after you beat Jafar and then Snake Jafar on the Sega one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just Iago on a treadmill and there's some ghosts.
I thought it was
Right? That's
before.
That was.
I don't remember that.
Pretty sure that's after. In the menu when you go to access
Oh.
the level skipper.
Well, John, some of us didn't cheat, so some of us might have not have known that was there.
Did you guys know there's actual cheats for this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, it's just a cutscene, John. I'm double checking it right now. Make sure I didn't miss anything. No, it's just a fucking cutscene to where he's kissing Jasmine at the end for Sega.
It's a playable level.
What were you on?
It's a playable level, I swear.
Yeah, it is. It's the one right before Jafar.
Is it before Jafar?
Yeah, it's right before Jafar.
John, you're
see,
drunk.
it was
Go home.
in the cheat menu. Well, at least in the one that I played, it was the level after. Oh, I'll fire this bitch up and prove it.
We're going to stop the podcast and all beat the versions of the game that we should have beaten before we recorded.
I mean,
I remember the cheat too.
I have the Genesis version. Yeah, it's A B B A B B A B A.
ABB.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just teasing, dude. No, look, I'll show you. Watch. Hold on. This thing takes like 8 years to power up.
For the listeners, he's now powering up his handheld device.
Just a vibrator with a screen. Oh. But this also brought me back to cheats. Like, I've totally forgot about bun cheats. Like, because we always played games, I'm like, oh, I can't use any cheat. There's no real cheats on here besides like like Game Genie or something like that. But there's actually game cheats. Like, if you press at the beginning or into a level, you're like, oh, this does this. So after I beat them, I'll use them. I'm like, oh, this is fun. Like, skip. Actually, I did use the skip level one, John, just because I'd turn off or power off my Genesis and like, oh shoot, what level was it on? What was the password? So I'm just like,
it on overnight.
So I just press a button because you can literally do it right in the middle of the start. Yeah. Just because that's him, but that just because you do it in there doesn't mean that just because it's labeled the last level doesn't mean it's actual last level.
Sultan's Palace, Jafar's quarters. Yeah, isn't that after?
No.
It was real dumb. Yeah, it's just friggin' Iago. Like,
oh, that's before, right, Nick?
Yeah, that's right before.
You said treadmill. He's on okay. He's on a gear. All right. I remember that now.
A treadmill. Yeah.
I literally thought there was a treadmill.
It's the thing that which is weird because that was the thing he was used at the beginning of the movie to find there. So nice callback. So yeah, I mean the games are great. I enjoyed both. I really did. I don't really tend either way. I think they just have both. They both really. I was stuck in the middle. Like I enjoyed the Sega for being just hitting all the nostalgia. Like if you're watching a movie, it felt like you're playing the movie. That's what the Sega version was. Then if you were to turn the movie into an actual game, what the game would probably be like would be the probably Super Nintendo version. Though I think what is not needed was both the fucking Genie levels.
Those were real. That was kind of like, well, we need some extra leverage in this. And
it's supposed to be. I just didn't like them. I know what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be the spot where like it's supposed to take in the scene where Genie was telling Aladdin all his powers and what he could do.
And apparently, at least the Genesis one, I'm like, okay, this is kind of surreal. But the Super Nintendo one, it's like, I guess Genie's a god, and Mega Man 2.
Well, actually, you know what made me felt like? What was that level? I'm trying to think of now. I can't think of it. It just escaped my mind. But yeah, it was like, okay. It felt like Mickey Mouse. Felt like it did feel like a Disney game. It felt like Mickey Mouse Illusions game.
Yes.
So it felt like which I think is a Capcom game as well, right?
No, I don't think it was Capcom. I think it was a Sega. Castle of Illusion, I think, was Sega.
But
I
had that. I think it had that feel to it. That's probably what I'm thinking of. Okay, Matt.
So
I'm gonna walk away now for your 30-minute dialogue.
Yeah. Please come back. Except no, no. I would say if you had asked me prior to playing these, just off the cuff, what I thought was the better version. I mean, even like 2 weeks ago, before we started, I think I would have said Genesis because I think that's the common knowledge. I think everyone just says the Genesis one is because it is a much better looking game. It's just it's like you can't deny that. If you pop in the Genesis version and it's like, holy crap, the weaker system pulled off so much more. It turns the whole Sega versus Nintendo debate on its ass. So that said, I like them both, but I had more problems with the Genesis version just because of the level design. So the guy, we didn't get on this in development, but the guy who was the developer, director on this one, a guy named Dave Perry.
Perry.
And yeah, what you guys would know him from? Cool Spot. Does that sound familiar? Remember Cool Spot?
Yeah.
Earthworm Jim.
Earthworm Jim was hilarious.
All those games, though, they felt the same. They all had these like. I don't like the level design, and I don't like that. While the scenery and the graphics are gorgeous, for me, I'm a gameplay nut. So I care more about having very defined platforms that I can tell this is a platform, this is not. I don't want to get lost in the background and have a ton of shit going on.
The polish isn't there. I agree with you.
I don't know. When I played the Super Nintendo version, and maybe it's because I'm so accustomed to playing a lot of the Disney Capcom games, and there's a ton. Capcom did so many Disney games. I'm used to how they flow. It's a much more comfortable experience for me than these wide open maps. I just don't like that style, that European level design. Again, I've been spoon-fed Japanese games since birth, so it's foreign. I don't like it. But I can't deny the music, amazing. I mean, the Genesis version, I think, has the much better music. I think the Genesis version has the much better graphics. I like the fact that Genesis has the sword, even though I've shit on it. But I like the Super Nintendo's controls. I like the fact that it was very neat that it was almost like a parkour style game on a 16-bit system. Like, I think that'd been really cool to see what they would have done on like a more modern system. Like, would it? I don't know, for some reason, like Mirror's Edge or like a Prince of Persia game, like the modern ones, like maybe that's what they would have pulled off with it if they just continued that line of thinking. I don't know. I give it to the Super Nintendo strictly on mechanics in that I like how it controlled. I like that the Sega version gave you more levels, and I think that my biggest complaint is I got on the Super Nintendo one, and I'm like, well, that's it? I had similar complaints with other games. Not a 30-minute diatribe. I mean, it's really tough to pick between the two. But I think strictly on level design, I have to give it to the Super Nintendo. Even though the Genesis one has so many strong points that I don't feel like I've done a good job pointing out. I don't know if I've been fair to it, to be honest.
I think, the Sega was a shorter playthrough for me. But it, like, getting used to it took longer. Like, to get all through the levels, it was longer like that, because I died a lot more. But if I was good at the game, you could beat the Sega game quicker than you could beat the Super game because, each level of the Super game had like 4 sub-levels, right? I think so. Like, yeah.
Yeah, agreed. it is hard to kind of pick. I'm probably going to lean there, but again, you guys grew up with Super Nintendo, and I grew up with a Genesis, so it really does come down to the system preference too. I think it does always going to hit in just because you're used to how they do play, and typically Capcom didn't really do much with Sega. I don't think typically.
Not a ton. They put a version of Street Fighter. They did a Mega Man trilogy.
Yeah.
Not a ton.
So, I mean, if those are the games you grew up on and used to play, then you're going to be used to those controls, those level designs, and how they play through. Where I grew up more Sega, so I'm more used to the level designs and how those play through as well.
I knew the bias was coming out on this one. I kue when we went down this road, I knew how the vote would turn out.
Oh yeah,
it was written on the wall.
But it doesn't. It shows down to the developers for each system, because those are the games you're going to be playing more commonly. So you're going to be used to that style of gaming. Where I grew up playing the Sega more commonly, so I'm used to those level styles, those developers that mainly produce stuff for Sega.
Yep.
So it does come down to maybe not system, but who are the developers for those systems. And I think that's what it came down to with this game is just the developers. What just think of this. This game came out for 2 different systems and was made 2 different ways at the same time.
Yeah, you don't see that too much anymore.
You don't see that at all.
See it at all. Yeah.
They make a game. It's like, okay, you're both getting this game. You're getting the same exact thing. Your only fucking difference might be like the only thing I can think of is like not even then. It's not even then. It may have like an extra perk of like, hey, you get this outfit if you buy it early, or you get these extra characters. Like I think Mortal Kombat does that. If you got the PS2 version, you got like this character, this extra character. If you do the Xbox, you got this character, this character. You got the Switch, you got this character, this character. So that's the only difference. Now, like these were literally their own games in their own rights and their own merits. And they both stand up very well.
I'm happy you picked this. I for as much shit as we were going to give you for Quackshot, when you went down the road of Aladdin, I was like, I'm excited for this. I feel like we can have some fun with this debate. You know, I mean, I love anytime we can do Sega versus Nintendo. I jump right on that.
And we're going to do it again. I have plans for other game like this in the future.
I loved it until I got to the genie levels, and then I swore at you a lot.
So nothing changed?
Yeah.
So, guys, before we wrap this up, I do have a turbo round for us.
What?
All right.
Turbo round. I named it, is it Game Genie Code or not?
Okay.
So I'm gonna name out what the code is, and you're gonna tell me if it is a Game Genie Code or if it's not a Game Genie Code. All right?
All right. I'm ready.
Start with 1 life. These are all for Aladdin. I'll preface that. These are all for Aladdin ones. So the code is you just start with 1 life.
Not.
Yeah. I don't know why you'd want to start with 1.
It is a Game Genie Code.
That's a dumb code.
I mean, that's why I did this, because like I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fun. Abu is always following you.
Not.
No. You know what? Frig it. Let's make it interesting. It is. It'd be something Nick would want. It is.
It is not a code.
Ah, fuck.
Start with 0 apples.
It's a code.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I went out of order. Fuck.
No, you go. Yeah,
it's okay.
You can go for it.
So
it is a code.
It is a code. Is a code. It is a code.
Yeah.
All right. Each gem found is worth 0 gems.
Not.
It's a code. I'm going with it's a code.
It's a code.
Dumb code.
Play as the genie.
Not a code.
Yeah, not. They'd have to do more work. They'd have to actually sprite it out. Not a code.
Not a code. Apples are 1-hit kills.
Code.
Code.
Not a code.
Ah,
Each genie token found is worth 0 genie tokens.
not.
It's a code.
It's a code.
Ah,
Play as Jasmine.
no.
Nope.
Correct. Always have 3 lives.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, yep. Be able to use the carpet on all levels.
Nope.
Nope.
Okay, you're right. Not bad, guys. Not bad. But the reason I brought this up for the turbo round is because the memory of some of these, because I had a Game Genie on every system, actually, except for the Sega. I did not have a Game Genie for a Sega, which is weird. But I always used to remember reading through the books for every system that I had. Is like, why would you not want? Like, you literally had choice like start with 1 life versus, oh, let's start with invincible, or let's be 100 lives. Like, who would do that? And now it's just because I had this moment, the people that would put those codes on would be like the extremists. Like, I want to test my skill. Can I get through this whole game with 1 life? And that's why you probably have some of these. But yeah, some of the codes are just stupid. You're like, wow, these are ridiculous Game Genie codes. Like, who would like put up like that? And I hope
Sadists.
that Game Genie becomes an episode. We do extra episodes. We always do. So in the future, where we can talk about it.
Nice.
Cheating there. I did want to do one thing for the listeners. One,
Oh no.
I do recommend both these games. Truly, to the fullest. They both were 100% fun to play. Both of them. One thing I reconnected with was the cheats in this game, because it reminded me back the first game I learned how to use a cheat code was Sonic the Hedgehog. Up down, left right, ace, up down, up. Like, I'm trying to do some friggin' the Konami one got stuck in my head. Up down, left right, A star at the same time, which brought up all the debug menu for the and level select for the Sonic ones. So I would like to say there is codes for there. John used several of them, as we always know. So for there's only one that was actually for the one I knew for the Super Nintendo one was LR start select XYAB on the second controller, and exit, then hold LR and use a D-pad on controller 1, and you could actually get level select for which was weird there. Then the Sega one, as John said earlier, ABB, and that brought you right to the debug menu for, and that was done in the option screen for the Sega Genesis, and that would bring you to the debug menu for Aladdin, where you can be invincible and do all that stuff. But I just thought that was kind of nifty, this fact to have those codes again, not using a Game Genie or using something to do it, but just actually just go on and do it. So
Sweet.
kind of fun things. Again, both games were excellent. I thought, they both had their own rights, and I had really fun. I actually played through 2 games. We both finished 2 games, guys.
So does that mean our record is spotless now, and that all of us completed 2 games? So that's 6 to the list. That's 6.
Yeah.
So
I think that itself and needs some acknowledgement right there, because that doesn't happen too often where we all actually finish the game. So,
Right.
Both great games. One was made by Virgin, Sega Genesis, other by Capcom. So, closing thoughts in there. This game has ignited another game, a Disney game, The Lion King. We're gonna have to put that one to the test too.
I thought you were gonna say Quack Shot. That's where I thought we were
That
going
one,
with that.
that one, that's gonna be a random one. That's gonna be when John just makes me really, really mad. So
We're gonna talk an hour about a 30-minute game. I can't wait.
exactly. It's mostly a learning game,
I love it.
but yeah, I liked it. This is a good episode, guys. Don't forget to follow us on our socials. Matt, want to get those out?
Well, yeah. So always, please subscribe. Also, tell a friend if you have a friend out there that enjoys listening to retro games. Pass us along. At the very least, they can stop us after the first offensive thing Nick says. So give it a whirl. It gives us that one download that we need other than our moms. But yeah, our socials, Spin-Retro. We are on Twitter. We are on Instagram. Yeah. So Nick, who has the pick next week?
Next? Oh yeah, that's right. You're making us pick. This is a sadist kind of thing.
So let's see. I don't think I ever got the response. I didn't get the response I wanted off the Twitter. So here's what I had, and I'll let you and John decide here. So I've been talking about Metal Gear Solid since episode 9. And then we moved it for Resident Evil, and then we moved it again for Cave Story, and then I just said, fuck it. So that's still on the docket. If you guys would like to play that, we could. The other things is I've mentioned this game called Radius Senkai Raimheinen, I think is how it's pronounced. It is basically Secret of Mana on the NES. The third pick was Terranigma. I've been playing that on Super Nintendo, so if we picked it, that would give me a chance to actually beat the game I started. So 3 options. To disclaim, these options are very specific in that all of these games I believe John will enjoy. I have given Nick Nights into Dreams, which I believed he would have enjoyed because it's Sonic Team. I'll be giving John games that I think that he would enjoy, and then from there I can go and pick a game I know neither of you will enjoy, but I will. So this is my goodwill, my benevolent and loving host duty. What do you guys want to play?
John, I'll give this one to you.
Terranigma?
That's what I was thinking. Terranigma.
Thinking Terranigma?
Yeah.
We will play Terranigma next. Excellent.
All right.
So, all right. Thank you guys for joining us on Spin Dash. You have a great one. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Stopping. Don't.